In the digital age, the concept of trust has taken on new dimensions, evolving and adapting as our interactions increasingly shift to the online world. At the heart of this transformation lies a technological marvel that both fascinates and unsettles: artificial intelligence capable of generating hyper-realistic human faces. These AI-generated faces are not merely artistic curiosities or feats of programming. They are powerful tools that can sway opinions, evoke empathy, and, most crucially, shape the very instincts we use to determine whom or what to trust. Today, we embark on a journey to uncover how AI-generated faces are influencing your trust instincts, often in ways that are as subtle as they are profound. To understand the influence of AI-generated faces, we first need to explore how humans have evolved to interpret faces in the first place. Since time immemorial, our brains have been finely tuned to read faces, identifying emotions, intentions, and even the health or social status of others. This innate ability is known as facial recognition, and it is central to how we form judgments about trustworthiness. Subtle cues like the upturn of a mouth, the crinkle around the eyes, or the symmetry of features can all subconsciously inform whether we see someone as honest, friendly, or even threatening. These judgments happen in fractions of a second, often before we are consciously aware of them. Enter AI-generated faces, images created not by cameras, but by sophisticated algorithms trained on millions of real photographs. These algorithms, known as generative adversarial networks, or GANs, are designed to create faces so realistic that even the most discerning human eye may struggle to distinguish them from genuine photographs. The implications of this technological leap are vast. For the first time in human history, it is possible to manufacture faces that do not belong to any real person, yet possess all the hallmarks of trustworthiness or approachability that our brains instinctively seek. But how does this affect our trust instincts? Recent research reveals that AI-generated faces are not just realistic, they are often perceived as more trustworthy than actual human faces. In controlled studies, participants consistently rated synthetic faces as more likable and credible, even when told that some images might be fake. This counterintuitive result suggests that AI, in its quest for perfection, tends to iron out the imperfections and idiosyncrasies that real faces possess. The smiles are a bit more symmetrical, the skin a bit clearer, the gaze a touch more direct. Subconsciously, our minds interpret these features as signals of honesty, reliability, and openness, all qualities we associate with trustworthiness. This phenomenon raises profound questions. If our most basic social instincts can be so easily fooled, what does that mean for the authenticity of our online interactions? In an era where profile pictures, virtual meetings, and digital avatars are commonplace, the line between real and artificial is becoming increasingly blurred. This blurring is not merely an academic concern, it has tangible consequences for how we perceive and engage with the world around us. Consider the realm of social media, where profile images are often the first, and sometimes only, glimpse we have of another person. A friendly, approachable face can open doors, foster connections, and build rapport within seconds. But what if that face does not belong to a real person at all? What if it is the product of an AI, carefully crafted to maximize trust and likability? Such scenarios are no longer hypothetical. Businesses, organizations, and even malicious actors are now using AI-generated faces to create fake personas, influence opinions, and manipulate public sentiment. The use of AI-generated faces in marketing and advertising exemplifies both the promise and peril of this technology. On one hand, companies can use synthetic faces to represent diverse and inclusive customer bases without risking privacy violations or running into issues of misrepresentation. On the other hand, the same technology can be weaponized to create fake testimonials, manipulate reviews, or even impersonate real people for fraudulent purposes. The emotional resonance of a smiling face can bypass our rational defenses, making us more susceptible to persuasion or deception. This susceptibility is compounded by the sheer scale and efficiency of AI. Unlike traditional forms of deception, which require significant effort and coordination, AI-generated faces can be produced in unlimited quantities at the click of a button. Each face is unique, untraceable, and perfectly tailored to evoke trust. The barriers to entry are low, and the potential for abuse is high. In online marketplaces, dating apps, or even political campaigns, the proliferation of synthetic faces threatens to erode the very foundation of trust that underpins our social fabric. Yet, the story is not wholly dystopian. The same technology that can deceive can also protect, inform, and empower. For example, journalists and researchers use AI-generated faces to safeguard the identities of whistleblowers or vulnerable individuals, allowing them to share their stories without fear of reprisal. In education and entertainment, AI-generated characters can enhance storytelling, foster empathy, and bridge cultural divides. The challenge lies in harnessing this power ethically, ensuring transparency and accountability in how these faces are used. So, what can be done to safeguard our trust instincts in this new landscape? Awareness is the first line of defense. By understanding how AI-generated faces exploit our subconscious biases, we can begin to question our initial reactions and seek additional cues before placing our trust. Tools and technologies are also emerging to help detect synthetic faces, using forensic analysis and machine learning to identify telltale signs of artificiality. However, as AI continues to evolve, the arms race between creators and detectors is likely to intensify. Education is equally important. By teaching digital literacy and critical thinking skills, we can equip individuals to navigate a world where seeing is no longer believing. Simple practices, such as reverse image searches or scrutinizing the context of an image, can help uncover inconsistencies. More broadly, fostering a culture of skepticism, not cynicism, but healthy skepticism, can help counteract the allure of perfect, too-good-to-be-true faces. On a societal level, the question of regulation looms large. Should there be guidelines or laws governing the use of AI-generated faces, particularly in contexts where trust is paramount? Some advocate for mandatory disclosure, requiring that synthetic images be clearly labeled as such. Others warn that such measures may be difficult to enforce and could stifle innovation. Ultimately, the balance between innovation and integrity will require ongoing dialogue among technologists, policymakers, and the public. The rise of AI-generated faces also invites us to reflect on the nature of trust itself. For centuries, we have relied on physical presence, eye contact, and facial expressions as proxies for authenticity. In the digital age, these proxies are increasingly unreliable. Perhaps the lesson is not to abandon trust, but to recalibrate it, to recognize that appearances can be deceiving, and that true trust must be built on deeper foundations of transparency, accountability, and shared values. As we stand on the threshold of this new era, it is worth considering how our trust instincts might evolve in response. Humans are remarkably adaptable, and history is replete with examples of societies adjusting to new technologies, from the printing press to the telephone to the internet. Over time, we may develop new heuristics and safeguards, learning to spot the subtle cues that distinguish real from artificial, or shifting our attention to other indicators of credibility. In the meantime, the proliferation of AI-generated faces serves as both a warning and an opportunity. It is a warning that our most basic instincts can be manipulated by unseen forces, and that the digital world demands new forms of vigilance. But it is also an opportunity to reimagine how we connect, communicate, and build trust in an age of infinite possibility. The story of AI-generated faces is still being written. It is a story that intersects with psychology, technology, ethics, and society at large. Each of us has a role to play in shaping the outcome, by questioning what we see, by demanding honesty and transparency, and by recognizing the enduring value of genuine human connection. As we look to the future, one thing is clear. The faces we encounter online, whether real or artificial, will continue to shape our perceptions, our decisions, and our sense of trust. The challenge is not to retreat into suspicion or paranoia, but to engage with these new realities thoughtfully and responsibly. By doing so, we can ensure that technology serves to enhance, rather than undermine, the trust that binds us together. In the end, the question is not merely how AI-generated faces shape our trust instincts, but how we, as individuals and as a society, choose to respond. Will we allow ourselves to be led astray by artificial beauty and manufactured sincerity, or will we rise to the challenge of discerning the real from the unreal? The answer lies not in the technology itself, but in the choices we make and the values we uphold. Let us embrace the possibilities of AI with open eyes and open minds, recognizing both its power and its pitfalls. In doing so, we can forge a future where trust endures, not in spite of technology, but because we have learned to use it wisely. The faces of the future may be artificial, but the trust we build can and must remain authentically human.